All right, guys. Welcome to our week 12 of 2D animation subject. And right now, we are going to try to work with animatics, okay, for our animations before we're going to start to work with the animations directly for the characters itself. So one of the most important thing about this particular kind of work there, right? It's all based on how actually you're going to develop your kind of animations from here. And of course, it includes basically like how you're going to animate them based on the 12 principles. Right? Of animations. That's the thing. So if you don't actually apply this particular kind of method, okay, you will basically have useless kind of animations there. Right? Okay. So how to work on that directly? First of all, you need to have your own storyboard that you start with. Okay, as I actually have done one of those storyboard for you guys before this, okay, for our subject itself. Okay, let me check basically that again. So this is basically our storyboard there. Our basically job is very simple, that is, okay. We need to define basically this particular kind of scenes that we can include later on for our animations and how we're going to animate them. That's basically also the most important thing. All right. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to create a few number kind of scenes that based on this animated kind of what we call that stories. Okay, first of all, we have basically titles, okay, page. Okay, how many seconds, okay, that you want to include this title page. This is basically one of the way that I'm going to work. There'll be more better kind of directions, a proper kind of structures, okay, for our animated kind of scenes and also stories there. Okay, so I include also timing there, okay? How long is it going to take? You have to remember one thing. When we work with timing inside those scenes, okay, 1 second, which means we need 25 frames. Okay, this is basically the thing that we should do there, okay, for the timing itself to plan the animations. Within 1 second, we need 25 frames of motions. Okay, of motions there, right? Hopefully, you guys learn also right here what we call that during basically your lecturing sessions. Okay, 1 second is equal to 25 frames of motions. All right. So it does mean you need to have 25 drawings. Okay, but you need 25 frames of motions there, right? Okay. So within the 25 frames, maybe there's a few drawings included for the whole motions for that particular scenes. Okay, for that particular scenes there, right? Okay? Specific scenes. All right, we have basically this this storyboard there, okay, that I actually have done before. Okay. First of all, okay, what we can do normally, I will copy this one, for example. Then I'm going to paste right here. You can redraw if you want to. Okay, you can redraw them if you want to. Okay? Sometimes you can animate also these titles that you want to work on. Okay, let's just say this is the first scene. Okay, scene number one. It's scene number one. Close this one first. Scenes number one. So what I'm going to do right here, scene number one, okay, we need maybe 1 second okay, to work on that. Check back storyboard, okay, 2 seconds there. So that means we need around from this scene number one. Okay, we need around 50 frames for the whole motions. Okay, 50 frames. Within 50 frames of motions, what we can do from here, okay? First of all, I'm going to create the key motion from there. Okay, I wanted to basically make these titles. Sorry, right? Okay, the characters move first. Okay, move. What kind of motions? This all depend. All right, I can pop up the characters. Okay, like for example, like this one. That first. I just say I'm going to design a character that first. Okay, can I actually look into back again my characters? Okay, the characters are going to be work like this. This is only a sample rough animation, sir. Okay, and I group them up. Yeah, now the characters over here. Okay, the final motions. This is basically my only my template for the storyboard. Right? I'm not going to design these characters. Okay. Okay. So what I'm going to do for this one, okay, let me say prepare this. Okay, the characters, everything there. And then next thing is the titles. So I'm going to change the colors there. You see? And uh, change the right. Okay. Examples here. Create by, for example, there, right? Okay. Example like this. If I want to make this the whole motions in animate, what I'm going to do, okay, the first scenes basically there, right? Okay. This is going to be the final scene, the final kind of motions there. So I'm going to extend basically the motions around. Okay, This is the final kind of motions there, okay? From this scene, for example, over here, we can make some changes there, right? This thing won't be appeared as this. You see? So this is how we plan around 2 seconds of motions. Okay? 2 seconds of motions. So be there. I want to make this titles appears like this. Okay. Because the wall characters appears within a few minutes, a few seconds there. This is how basically we plan the motions. Okay. This is how we work on it. Just like doing some normal kind of motion editing using Adobe Premiere or Adobe After Effects. Okay. Yeah. So how we're going to animate them, it all depends on you. Okay. Sometimes I can actually make the characters. Okay, I can make the characters pop up there, right? For example, like this. Okay, the character pop up right here. Interactions. Right? The same goes to this one. This one. Can actually make the characters pop up there, right? This. All right. And the music will came after. Okay, that's all. Okay, this is how actually we plan the motions, huh? Right. One of it. Okay, for the first scene. And I'm going to save the files. I'm going to save. Animatics. This is going to be scene number 1. Okay. You can basically use the whole, you can plan basically the scene by adding up another scene over here. Insert the scene there, right? Okay. Or you can use different files that it works. That's basically how it is going to be. So let's just say the second scene. Okay, the second scene there, right? You're going to use this character. Put it right here. Because the characters are not going to be act like this. Let's just say this is the first and the second scene, scene number 2. Okay, how long does it take there? 1 second, the characters appears right here. So there's a lot of way to push the characters again inside the scene there. Okay, they can walk, they can drop down, they can actually appears. Okay, by zoom in the characters, whatever that you have in mind there. Okay, so for these scenes, what I'm going to plan before the character enters like this. Here, this one first. Put it right here. Groups. This one should not be appear inside your animations. This is only a guideline there, okay? Should not appear there, okay? So don't be too naive enough to put it in scenes over basically your final animations. This is only a guideline for your kind of animatics. So what I'm going to do, okay, there's a background over here. So the background should be look like this. Okay, can I actually use another kind of? Okay. I just say waiting at the park there, I think. His characters were waiting at the park. Oops. So around 1 second, right? What I'm going to do over here, I'm going to put into these frames. Okay. First, basically, how actually I'm going to appear, okay? I want to make the characters basically maybe drop down, okay? Why actually drop down? Because it can be, because normal kind of animate, normal kind of what we call that actings, we cannot drop the characters there suddenly like that. Of course, we can, depending on the how actually you're going to portray the stories there, right? So, but this is cartoon. I want to save my times. I will not doing walk cycle first. I'm going to do drop kind of characters over here. So what I'm going to do next, basically, there, right? These characters. I can animate them using different layers if I want to. But at the moment, I wanted to use this method there, right? Okay, the first frames, the character doesn't appear yet. Show the background. Okay, first. Then I want to make these characters. Okay, this guy and this girl basically, okay, drop that from here, but I'm going to put a bit more squash. But all right, okay. The second frames, another frame basically that I need to use, okay, these characters. Stretch a little bit, like this. Okay. And I also can basically animate a bit. This is how actually we plan. Like, if you have your own kind of design that you have been done as a part of your poses, you can reuse them. Okay, you can reuse them. That's why when we working with the animation itself, we have to plan and prepare the whole thing first. Okay, let's just say like this. Even though basically the hair, Okay, you can adjust. Okay. Okay. Yeah. This is what we call animatics. If you basically have the characters that that been using for any kind of post before this, you can basically use them. But right now, I don't have that kind of characters. I plan first like this. This is what we call animatics normally. That we are doing the animatics for the any motion or any characters there. From here, okay, maybe the last part there, right? What I can do, try to plan basically the acting itself. Okay, this character's motion because he's waiting for someone. Okay, in 2 seconds. Okay, now you have two characters in motion, two scenes basically to animate that. All right, this is what I call animatics, all right? Next scene is, okay, the characters, the second characters appears from here. So what I can do, I can reuse this one, both of it, copy and paste. It changed a bit, right? It's not supposed to be changed. So what I'm going to do right here, when this character is waiting there, what I can do, I will basically zoom out a little bit. Okay, so that means there, okay, this particular kind of scene is supposed to be a bit more smaller there, okay, the object right here, this. Okay, zoom out a little bit. Okay, so this character is something to fit right here. Yes. Okay, next thing is I will use these characters in. How actually going to be animate these characters? Okay, this is the last kind of what we call that motions. Okay, they meet each other there. Maybe I will balance them out. And you have to know one thing there, guys. Okay, in animations, there has a save frames. Okay, the save frames, which mean this is a nine. What we call that. If you work with the right kind of compositions, you should know. Just like we create a bleed there, right? Okay, This is going to be your safe frames, which is, okay, your animation is supposed to be inside the characters, the elements, okay, should be inside right here. So the background could be basically going to be end up, okay, until last of the frames there, okay, like this. But the character should be inside the safe frames. Okay, safe frames there. Okay, this is where basically the whole motions are going to be included right here. Same things if you are working with the Adobe After Effects or Adobe Premiere. Okay, there's a safe frames that include from there. Okay, anything that you actually design outside the safe frames, they are not going to be appear inside your monitor screen, normally on TV screen or any kind of cinema screen there. Okay, in YouTube's, in what we call that YouTube kind of what we call that channel, they're going to be appear there. Okay, normally. But inside basically a monitor, a TV screen, for example, the TV screen, okay, broadcasting kind of screen there, right? They're not going to be appear. So make sure you actually compose your characters really well inside the safe frames. Okay. Take for example like this. Okay. So based on the title that we have here, yep, this, copy. Okay. This is only a guideline for you, not for the final animations there. Okay. So in final animation, you can delete this one there, right? Okay, this frame and also the scene. Okay. Yeah. Even though inside this full shot there, okay, of these characters, I will not put these characters outside the safe frames. That's basically how it works. Okay. So from here, to make basically this scene there, okay, to animate this scene, how long basically it takes? Oh, within around 1 second. So I think 1 second is not enough. Maybe I'm going to add 2 seconds. Okay. This one basically based on your kind of timing and experience. So what I'm going to do around, okay, 2 seconds. What we can do from here, okay, this is the final kind of motions. Next thing that I should do, okay, these characters move. All right. This is where I can actually put the warp cycles. Okay. the character moved. Okay. This is only a planning there, okay? Sometimes it can be changed. So the character basically move, okay, towards basically the first character. This one's supposed to be responder. Okay. So planning the motions also really important there, okay? That's why when it comes to animations, you cannot animate the whole thing directly if you don't have any experience. So what you should do, planning the emotions like this. So that's why in animation, it takes very serious thing that works. It's supposed to be fun, and you have to focus and take serious, okay, whenever that you're going to develop those kind of motions. For every single motions that you're going to create, you need basically what we call that planning, okay? Animation is all about timing and planning, okay? What kind of motions there. So when you have basically this particular kind of animatics kind of what we call that progressions there, okay? You can actually animate really well. You can plan really well how many drawings that you need basically to include right here. And of course, you can plan also what type of character that you can develop, so okay, from here when it comes to animate them later on. That's the thing. Okay, that's why in the first phase, when you actually design your characters, you must be able to plan how to animate the whole motions. Most of the students, when they're not planning really well, okay, they focus too much on the design, okay, make it too complicated for them to control, and the characters that animate will be looks a bit more inappropriate, right? Okay? Another nasty word is sucks, right? Okay, so the characters is not going to be work for you because you think too much. Okay, all these kind of complicated kind of things that unnecessary that you should put on your kind of learning experience. Okay, that's the thing. I'm talking about the whole things based on experience. Okay, mistakes that I made a lot when I actually designed the characters in the first place. So I evolve a lot of things in different way in order for me to execute. Right now, when I actually design these characters, I can redesign the poses exactly that I want. But it doesn't mean the animation is going to be look like this. But it could be if I want to. It's all depend on your needs. Okay. If you spend basically to design the characters more than a month and you not be able to submit the whole things yet, it has to be do a bit kind of changes there. And you fail basically to develop that. All right. You fail there. What I can do right here next, okay. Like I say, while this girl basically waiting there, right? Okay. Let's see. Okay. Of course, okay, while basically this girl waiting, she can do a few number kind of things, okay? She can move basically her legs. Okay, she can wandering around, look at some of the place there. Okay, for example, like this. I can make this girl basically look to another side first. Okay, and she look back again. A lot of things that we can do there, right? Within this kind of scenes there, right? Okay, I can do a lot of things. Okay, before they make some changes over here like this. Happens here. Okay, when they turn over, I can squash a little bit, not too much. Okay. You saw basically the animated scene from here. Just using squash. Okay, there. Okay. So you show some excitement. Okay, normally I can at least stretch a little bit. There. Okay, it shows some sort of emotions. Yeah. See how you plan them. So in a few minutes that I actually with you guys, I already animate working with the animatics within these three different scenes together. Okay, so how much basically duration that we have? Around 5 seconds. Within 5 seconds, okay, you can basically show this kind of animation, right? See? Yeah. There's some opening sessions. Okay, establish shot on the locations. Okay, I can zoom out at the same time directly. For me directly, I can actually add a lot of additional kind of scenes from here. Okay. Before I'm going to end up into the third scenes, I can do another additional scene, okay, later on. Maybe I will zoom in a little bit, okay? Close up on the character kind of expression. That's the thing. Okay, remember one thing, it's all about the motion itself. I saw a lot of students basically work with a tight shot, okay? That means too much medium shot, okay, for the whole kind of animations. That also doesn't look right, okay? That's also doesn't look right. If you look at the storyboard that I create right now, There's a few number kind of tight scene there, okay? That mean in scene number 6, right here, I'm going to add another kind of zoom in or close up kind of scenes there, right? Okay? Most of it is a established shot or full shot of the characters been moving around here. All right. If you check back again the scene, okay, this one is I changed into 2 seconds. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16, or 17 seconds. I just need 17 seconds for the whole motions. Good enough that I said to guys. All right. That's basically what animatics is all about. I'm not going to complete them. Your job is basically to complete yours there, right? Okay. All right. Any questions so far? Any questions? If I like these characters, if I want to design these characters, I can design also on the spot there, right? Okay. That's the thing. That's basically the difference, okay, between you and me. All right. So I can actually reuse this one. I can design the characters over here straight away. So the thing is right now, what I need to do, I will basically add another kind of what we call that layer surface. Yes, I like this character is what I'm going to do first. Design basically the eye. There. Groups. So one of the students actually create these characters, that one eye characters. So I designed these one eye characters. Look like Mike Sazowski, but maybe not. Okay, this character, this fellow. Very simple kind of shapes, groups, and to back. Okay, he caught with you, right? Nothing much about this design. Yeah. How about the legs and the arms? I will design something like this, maybe. Yeah. Groups. These arms are going to be look like this. Then groups and send it back. The legs should be look like this. The groups there are this at the back there. It could be the mouth itself. Maybe look like this. Groups. Okay, we're talking about design things. That's why you need to find a better way to design the characters there. How about basically the spikes? Look there first. Maybe they're right, okay? This is basically my kind of design that I want to create for you. If I like it, if I don't like it, okay, I can duplicate first. Make it very simple and stupid. Maybe the legs, I don't like it like this. Then okay? I will design something a bit more like this. It all depends on how actually you're going to portray your design. This girl actually going to work on it. So human characters a bit kind of complicated. That's why when we design something, we have to be sure basically how actually you're going to design them. Start with a very simple shape like this first, group error. Right? The main thing is all about the eyes. Groups and design basically the highlight area. Then the hair. Group efforts. This one I'm going to put at the back there. Everything should be planned. Groups there. So next thing is I'm going to put some colors on it first. What kind of color that can be applied from here? Right. Now basically the body. So of course I can design the neck. It's groups. And this basically the body, the dress. So what kind of colors of the dress itself there, right? I try to make a little bit more contrast there, okay? Group that first and go back. Then next thing is basically the arms. I can use basically this method if I want to. Groups. This one. Groups. And go back. How about the trousers or pant the right thing? Maybe I can use a bit more contrast on the colors itself. Put it right there. Groups there right there. He's wearing basically a legging there. Okay? When I put these characters right here, because I can scale them back. Okay. This guy are going to be right here. This one to match basically the with the designer. If I don't like this guy, I will put this guy. So it's all on decision making there, right? Okay? How we actually decide each work with the characters. So design is really important, but it can be very as simple to make it the character look more appealing and easy to animate. I don't know why basically you spend too much time on design. Okay, more than a month there, okay, but you still cannot decide yet how to animate them. That's the thing. So that's why when you wasted a lot of time, do that kind of thinking process without do a lot of improvements based on designer. That's why you cannot actually move on into another stage or another step there. And of course, drawing skill really important. I can actually design any character that I want, but I decide to work with this kind of characters, for example, because I know basically the time that I have. So that's why I always start with this kind of animated kind of designer. Okay, this kind of simple kind of design first to learn how to animate the characters. You want to draw anime, manga, kind of Japanese styles, okay, you can, but you have to look into your skills. All those Japanese manga character kind of designer style there, okay? It takes a lot of skills there, set to develop them. You guys basically are very new, very amateurs there, okay? And closest to wannabe, all right? Wannabe there, right? Okay, you're not actually close as the Japanese anime mangaka there, right? Okay, kind of style there, okay? You just want to become another person who try hard to design anime or manga characters. That's why you fail to attempt that. For me, there's a lot of way to approach on your design in the futures. But this time around, you need to understand first how to animate your characters accordingly to the principle itself. Okay? That's basically that you fail to do there, guys. So that's why you delay yourself and then doesn't do anything right from you. Okay? So we have these two characters that I can use later on. All right. So from here, I can do a lot of things. Okay, I will bring back into another kind of what we call that page. I start to create basically the poses that I need. Okay, the poses that I need basically to animate this guy. So if I break down, thing, I can animate that. Okay, using basically the onion skin there, okay, to animate any kind of pose, walk cycle, whatsoever that I want. Even the walk cycles, okay, I can animate right here if I want to. What I can do right here, right now, this guy there is supposed to be like this. This one's supposed to be like this, the first frames. This one's supposed to be like this. This one's supposed to be like this. All right. The first keyframe and the last keyframe, and this is the medium keyframe, okay? The middle keyframes. Yeah. Last keyframe supposed to be like this. This one's supposed to be right here. But I can move to this side. This one, just to show basically the motion itself. One's supposed to be right here. This one's supposed to be right here. See? We can do a lot of things different ways. Just to show basically the motion of the character itself. See? And of course, right here, I actually can stretch a little bit. You see the flows of the motions there, right? Then I can extend that without in between there, okay? Extend first. I can see the loop of these motions over here. Okay. So if I want to add another keyframes, I just have to add another keyframe right here like this, okay? That's why the planning the motions is really important that it works. So first of all, what I need to do, this is basically the first keyframes. All right. This should be the third one. And this should be the fifth way. There. 1, 3, 5. There right here. Okay. My job is right now to add another keyframe right here. Okay, number 2. Right? That's the thing. How to work on this? Supposed to be right here. This kind of motions can be animated differently. Just watch a little bit. 1, 2, 3. Next thing is number 4. All this kind of thing also people make mistakes. Okay, by not planning first. Okay, you cannot actually draw direct 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, you have to start with first keyframes and the fifth keyframes to end the whole motions. Then you can loop them up direct. One, 5. This one's supposed to be like this. I can actually use different kind of motions so I can opposes that it works. But I decide to work like this. This one, move a little bit to this side. It's not basically his pennies there, right? It's a hand. Arms. Maybe a little bit more like this. So you decide that how it really looks. This one's supposed to be in front. And the whole kind of motions. I really hate basically my kind of what we call that keyboard. So what I can do next, basically right here. Wash a little bit. Yeah. Okay. The whole motions there. So because we are working with a 25 keyframe per second there right here, So we have to extend basically the keyframes into 2 or 3 seconds there. 3 frames there. To make it more smoother kind of motion. The next thing is I can loop them up. See? Walk cycle for these characters. Already complete. A very simple kind of indication on the motion itself. Once I have this one, I can copy frames. Then I can actually click the symbols, walk number 1, paste all frames. Yeah, I will double check to my libraries there again. So right now the characters were right here. All right. So what I can do next, this is basically my keyframe of motions. I can save them up. Walk number 1. This kind of motions I can actually include inside. Okay, export into movie. Okay, GIF animated. Okay, walk cycles. Okay, kind of key test. Right, rename it. This is the one. Okay, and of course, okay, if the size is not too big, I can scale. How do I scale them? Working with the edit multiple frames, select them up, select the whole thing. Oh, gosh, like this. Okay, that's what I really hate basically, this keyboard. Scale. Okay, that's it. And scale them up there using basically edit multiple frames before I click into symbols. So when I present basically my animations, I present in a full scales. Some people that I saw when they presented the animation directly, this is basically the scene, the frame rate. The animation is too small, like this, when you present it directly. You should basically put a full scale so everyone basically can see the motion from there. All these kind of tricks and tips I actually have did inside our classrooms, but you're not paying attention on it. That's why I decide to do it online. And then if you want to learn, you learn. Okay, if you don't learn, okay, it's up to you. Yeah. How about the last keyframe just now? Okay, the stupid thing happens there. So this is the second keyframe supposed to be. This is basically the fourth keyframes. Okay, then I'm look them up. This is number 4. Supposed to be number 3, and this one supposed to be number 2. They look them up there. So once I get it right, I will save basically the files. This one, I can actually copy these frames, these motions, save the file, open up new one, and I start to animate them. Please put it right here. I can make the characters move. So within 2 seconds, for example, so here. Okay. The character should hold like this. This one, I'm going to put right here. Still have this one. But you have to be careful with it when you actually work with it. What I can do, I create classic plane. I want to make these characters walk. Right here. See? There. Within 1 second. Okay, within 1 second there. From here, I actually can use basically this particular kind of key motions, keyframes, it to include basically these kind of keyframes. Now I will start to animate them accordingly. Okay. Hey. See? How easy basically we can plan basically the motions over here and acting at the same times. Based on your complicated kind of design, I don't know whether you can actually animate the whole character straight away like this, based on the key pose of motions. All right, key pose of motions. That's why choose the right kind of methods, the right kind of design, really important in the first stage. The process of designing your characters will determine basically whether you can handle the characters for the whole kind of semesters or project itself directly. So when you plan your characters directly, a lot of people basically that I saw, they design one characters, they fall in love too fast, and then they sabotage basically their relationship with their design. Okay, that's the thing. They're not actually develop more and more kind of characters, try to develop some possibilities based on the drawing. You have to test your drawing first, whether you feel comfortable to animate, to design the characters accordingly to the pose that you want later on. Animation is not illustrations. Okay, you design one characters, look nice, and then You become champion there, okay? You can actually learn, see, also get validation from other people's there, right? So animation is all about the motion itself. How well you animate the characters, make it look alive. That's the thing. So it doesn't mean you can design a very nice kind of good characters. It doesn't mean that you can animate them. If you can animate them, the characters is just another kind of drawings only. It's just another drawings. It doesn't function enough for animation principles. Understand what I mean there, guys? So there's a lot of works you have to do from here. This is basically a few percentage of process of working in the real life. So most of you guys haven't actually realized all these kind of things yet. You're still in the dilemma of designing a good characters only that you thought the character is good enough for you guys. In animations, good characters, it can be like this. You can actually make the characters look alive there, okay? In the most simplest way. Make it simple and stupid enough for you to design your characters. Okay? Any questions? Any inquiries? Hey, are you guys deaf or what already? I asked you basically for your response. Okay, but you just keep quiet there, right? Okay, guys. So good luck with your kind of works. I want to see there, okay? By this week, you have worked with your animatics there, right? Okay? You have complete your animatics there. This is how basically you can animate and actually work on it. Plan your animations there. Okay? So if you don't have any questions, thank you very much. I'll see you guys around there, okay? And hopefully this week you can actually submit your animatic first. If you want to put some sound effects, some music, go ahead, guys. You can use also other editing kind of application like After Effects or Premiere to render it into MP4, okay, kind of animatics, okay, using MP4 directly. It can be. So use whatever tool that you can use directly to portray, to present it, basically this project directly. All right. So thank you very much. Have a good day. Have a good evening there, guys. I'll see you guys around there. Okay?